I've known since I was little that I was not the right size. For as long as I can remember, I've always been considered a little bit too big. My arms were too pudgy, my cheeks were too chubby, and my stomach was too round. And I haven't changed in that regards. My arms are still pudgy, my cheeks are just as chubby as they were when I was little, and my stomach is still a bit too round. But my weight and size has always been something people talked about. From a very young age, I began to view my body as something to hate. I started to resent my body for the way it looked, for the way it made me feel. But what I never realized was that it wasn't my body that made me feel that way. It was the weight and the pressure of the beauty standards I was surrounded by that made me feel that way. That standard oozed from every part of my community, from my cousins to my nanny to my grandma to my mother to myself. The pressure I felt to fit myself into a mold, to contort myself into a shape I couldn't attain, was suffocating. A skinny frame, a small waist, light skin. I lived with the pressure to conform to those standards, and I still do. But I know that I'm not alone. I know there are so many others who have felt just what I have. But when I was around 11, I started to realize that all of the anger and all of the bitterness I held for my body wasn't healthy for me. I started to realize that it was actively damaging my relationship with food and my relationship with myself. Now, the more I started to realize that, the more I began to think that my mindset needed to change. But I knew that it wasn't my body that was the problem, it was my mindset, and so that's what I needed to change. But for as long as I've resented my body, I've also known that I should be loving it. I know that body positivity is a thing, I always have, but body positivity is about loving your body. And though I admit it is a nice sentiment, it has never really done anything for me, and it still doesn't. What I enjoy about body neutrality, which is my preferred mindset, is that it negates the aspect of appearance, because body neutrality is all about respecting your body and not caring what it looks like. But the ever-present pressure of beauty standards that weighed above my head led to me developing a very unhealthy habit. I would always, no matter where I was, if I came across a mirror, I would stand in front of it and I would just assess what my body looked like. I would stare at my reflection and I would think. I was always aware of the weight on my body, and those thoughts came whenever I was around a mirror. I was always aware. And those nagging little thoughts came wherever I was, no matter what I was doing. Body image often go hand in hand with eating and food. And I am no exception to that. My relationship with food has always been a bit hazy. Eating food always made me worry about the way my body would look after. But in the context of body neutrality, food is filling and it's happy and it's delicious. But the hunger and rumbling of your stomach are cues that you should eat, and I felt them all the time. They were constantly being sent to me. But they were constantly being ignored. And I know it's the same for so many others. So often, these cues go ignored in favor of skipping meals and restricting your diet. But there are so many side effects and impacts that come with doing things like skipping meals and restricting your food intake. Things such as decreased concentration levels, nutrient deficiencies, and lower energy levels. But I'm glad to say that, to me, food now is no longer a tunnel to self-hatred. But it's now something I get to enjoy and I get to be happy with. I'm glad I no longer recoil at the sugar in soft drinks and sweets. I'm glad I can let myself be a teenager and eat a bag of chips and have some candy without feeling so incredibly guilty about it. What I find so helpful in patching this wound and undoing the harm caused by the beauty standards around me was body neutrality. Well, body positivity is, again, about loving yourself and accepting your body. Body neutrality is about the indifference, about not caring what your body looks like, and ultimately, it's about respecting your body. Anne Poirier, a body neutrality pioneer, describes body neutrality as the space where you do not support your body hatred anymore. Body neutrality doesn't demand that I love my body, but it does demand that I respect it. What I find so much more helpful in body neutrality is that it negates the aspect of appearance entirely. It becomes irrelevant in the course of unlearning bad habits and learning to accept myself. So much of the attention given to me in my life has been about my appearance. And I feel as though to make any progress forward, to grow from the pressure of the standards and the impacts and the harm they've done, you need to respect your body. Respecting your body means eating when you're hungry. It means knowing your limits, and it means letting yourself rest. The first time I ever noticed that body neutrality and my practice of body neutrality had actually been doing anything was just a random day during last summer. I remember waking up, I remember getting my clothes on, getting ready, and I went downstairs. But halfway down the stairs, I realized I hadn't spent any more time in the mirror than necessary. I didn't spend any time standing there staring at my reflection and just assessing what I looked like. I didn't point out any part of myself that I didn't like or that I wanted to change. And that is when I realized that all the work I had been putting in over the past few years had been working. It paid off. And I realized that body neutrality in many, many ways had helped me with that. Now, body positivity and neutrality have never been and never will be completely foolproof. But I implore you to think. I want you to think about the way that body neutrality can impact your lives. I want you to think about the way it can help you, and I want you to think about the way beauty standards have affected you and any way you can grow from that. And always, please remember to respect your body. Thank you.